This is our place, come on in. Our place, so glad you're here. Our place, everybody's welcome. We see God on every face. Love lives here in this place. Welcome to our place, our sweet place.
Welcome, everyone, to the Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley, on this very special Valentine's Day. I'm Reverend Jody Hill Stevenson, and the theme for our community in February is love. But actually, let me give you a little secret. Everything we talk about is about love. We are here as a worldwide community of the Science of Mind philosophy, the Centers for Spiritual Living, and there are centers all over the world teaching this wonderful philosophy of love and success. Our founder once wrote, "Love is the self-givingness of the spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation." I love that. That spirit so loved itself that it created you and me and the trees and the four-leggeds and the creepy crawlers and those that fly and the mountains and the sky. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. Spirit so loved itself that it is literally breathing itself through you. He says, love is the central flame of the universe, the very fire itself. And I love Rumi. Rumi says, love is the fire and I am the wood. Isn't that wonderful? So for this week, we are asked to truly extend our love in ways that we normally wouldn't have. If you see someone coming out of the grocery store and they need help, stop and help them. Open the door for someone. I love being a little old lady and opening the doors for young males. It cracks me up because they look at me like, really? And I go, yeah, go ahead. It's really fun. Um, do things for people that nobody will else know about except you and God, and there will be no payment except that you will feel better. Pierre Teilhardin says, someday, after we have mastered the winds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, we shall harness the energies of love. Then, for the second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire. Let's take a moment and go inside. We come together in this beautiful community to remind each other and to remember ourselves that we are each individualized expressions of the one, that we are God expressing in ways that nobody else can. And so we are called to truly love the one in the mirror. Oh, the one in the mirror knows how to make so many mistakes and say things that he or she wish he hadn't. But nevertheless, there's love looking back at you in the mirror. And as we go out into our week, everywhere we look, we're going to see the face of love. No matter what's going on in the news, what's going on in the world, we know that in the center of our hearts is the source of our very being, the source of our love. And so we give thanks for this very day. We know that whatever happens is absolutely perfect. And we give thanks for our community. We give thanks for that which is breathing through us, the source of universal love. And for this we give thanks. And together we say, and so it is.
Welcome. My name is Laura Brzezinski, and I'm today's practitioner. Please join me in reciting our purpose, mission, and vision. our purpose, celebrating divinity, embracing humanity, and creating community, and our mission, providing tools and support to awaken our community to its spiritual magnificence. Our vision, inspiring and uplifting every one of us to transform the world. I have a white candle here next to me, representing the light that's within each and every one of us. I have a few readings for us today to accompany Reverend Jan Carothers' message, Recovering the Love in Our Personal Storms. Our first one is from Sophocles. One word frees us all from the weight and pain of life. That word is love. A healthy self-love means we have no compulsion to justify to ourselves or others why we take vacations, why we sleep late, why we buy new shoes, why we spoil ourselves from time to time. We feel comfortable doing things which add quality and beauty to life. From Andrew Matthews. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. Love is at the center of our being, and the calm, continuous pulsations of life are governed by love. And our affirmation today, if you're comfortable, take a moment and close your eyes while I read these and just turn within. When times seem dark, I open wide my heart and let divine light and love shine through me. When times seem dark, I open wide my heart and let divine light and love shine through me. And take a moment and just breathe that in.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Hallelujah, we are one now, 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 we are one now. So we sing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Alleluia. Let's turn within and pray. Right here, right now. There is only this moment, this word, this breath, this silence. For in each and every day, there is only that moment that we are in. followed by the next moment, the next moment, the next moment. And so in this moment, I just turn within, I connect to that divine intelligence, that divine power, that all creative essence. Call it God, call it spirit, call it source, call it love. Whatever you may call it, it is at the heart of every being on this planet. I connect, I turn within to that love, that light, that power. And as I feel that love moving in through and as me, I know that love is moving in through and as everyone listening. And that power is available to everyone on this planet at every moment. And that love is operating in through and as the Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. That divine love and connection that brings each one of us together, that supports each one of us on our own personal journeys, and yet connects us all. And so today, this day dedicated to love, is dedicated to the reminder of the power of love. I claim that divine love operating in through and as me, and in through and as every being, and in through and as Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. That divine love and power which energizes, which fills people with joy and hope and happiness and energy. That love that compels us to say kind things, whether to ourselves or to other people, to do kind things, to do something for someone else purely for that feeling of joy and satisfaction that it gives to ourselves. So I invite each one of us today to turn within and find that power of love within, and to do something with incredible love for yourself, for someone else, for the center. To recognize that love is that strength, love is that connection to yourself, to your own heart, to your own compassion, and to that love and that compassion that is out there in every being. It is that tie that binds. And the more that you connect with that divine love within and give out, the more the energy and vibration on this planet uplifts. And so I just know and claim today a day full of love and kindness and joy and happiness and hope and connection, as we each reach out in love to one another. And I am so grateful for the reminder today of the power of love within, and the power when we share our love. Grateful for this connection, the intelligence that allows us to connect across time and space today. And I'm grateful for everyone listening and for how you are showing up and shining your light and sharing your love today. Grateful for all of the people providing the service for each of us to come to and connect through. Grateful. And so in gratitude and love, and with this just expanded heart, I release and let go, allowing this service, allowing this day to just unfold in a divine and magnificent way. All is well. Life is good. And so it is.
This is one of my favorite songs. I always wanted to be the Say I Love You girl. Seriously. The song, I love it. Too many times I've had this feeling and then let it slip away. Too many excuses, too many reasons I didn't say what I wanted to say. Too many times I was afraid you wouldn't feel the way I do. Before it's too late or you turn away. gotta find the courage to say I love you. Say I do. I do. Say I love you. It's as simple as that. A matter of fact, I love you. Too many times we think tomorrow we will have plenty of time to tell the ones we love that we love them. Then the song runs out of rhyme. Life can change in the beat of a heart, something no one can deny. Before it's too late, before the moment passes us by, say I love you. Say I do. Say I love you. It's as simple as that. A matter of fact, I love you. Why are three little words so hard to say when they can touch a heart or change a life in so many amazing ways? Say I love you. Say I do. Say, go on and say I love you. Simple as that, a matter of fact, I love you. It's as simple as that, a matter of fact, I love you. Oh, I love you.
So in October of 1987, in fact, October 17th to be exact, I walked into my brand new church, the Portland Church of Religious Science. I was a brand new minister and I was so excited. I've been through 4 years of ministerial school, so many changes in my personal life. I moved from Seattle to Portland, and I drove up and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Got out of my car and the president of the board met me, and we kind of look alike. People have said we look alike. So I was dressed to the nine. I was looking pretty, feeling pretty spiffy that day. I had on a pink, isn't this amazing? I remember my first Sunday as a senior minister. I had on a pink kind of corporate-y looking outfit. I mean, the shoulder pads were out to here, but nevertheless, that was the look. And my friend Jan, the president, met me, and she said, so it's new member Sunday. We need to go sign the new member Sunday cards. And I said, okay, I'd love to, as the new minister, brand new minister. And she said, there's only one problem. I said, okay. She said, we have to go into the women's bathroom to do that because otherwise people would see us signing and that wouldn't be good. And I said, okay, I can do that. So we went in the bathroom and I looked around and I thought, there are no tables here. And we had like 25 people. I mean, there were a lot of cards that we had to sign. She had to sign as the president. I got to sign them as the new minister. So we looked at each other. And again, we're all dressed up in pretty spiffy outfits. And we looked at each other and went, well, so we sat down on the floor in the women's bathroom. So I have my pen and I start to write. And I'm thinking, wow, 4 years of ministerial school, tremendous changes in my life. Oh my God. And I get the giggles. I'm going, I can't believe I'm sitting on the bathroom floor. This is wow. And then I looked at Jan and she got the giggles. And it was so funny to us. We got in hysterics. We were laughing so hard. Well, fortunately for me, and I think her, that was not our last time. My beautiful friend, Jan, who was the one that hired me, I can't tell you how many times we've cried in restaurants, we've laughed hysterically, we have gone shopping, we have gone on trips, we've gone through National Speakers Association together, we have talked about so many churches. But mostly we have cared and shared about each other. I'm always so proud and honored to introduce my beautiful friend and wise sage, Jan Carothers.
Thank you, Jody. It is my pleasure to be here, talking about recovering the love in your personal storms. And if any of us have personal relationships, then you've had times in which you've encountered disappointment, annoyance, anger, and conflict in those relationships. You know, it was not a very special day. And suddenly you've fallen in again. It started out small. One of you says something that sounded a bit off to the other one, and the response is surprising. And one of you takes offense. Someone raises their voice, and the return is decidedly snarky. And then someone makes an accusation, which is met with a sweeping generalization and interruptions, and shouting ensues, and even stomping, and suddenly a door is slammed, topped off by thick, icy silence. You may have left the room, but actually both of you have gone to your corners. And the storm, noisy as it was, isn't over, is it? I mean, you don't have to be present to have a storm continue to rage, because for the immediate future, each one of you has seized a jagged chunk of territory in the other one's minds, haven't you? And the conversation, if you could call it that, the fight, isn't over. No, we replay it. We devise better tactics for the next time. We may wish the other one ill, plot small revenge, maybe even withdrawal. You question, how dare they talk to me like that? Who do they think I am? Who do they think they are? Why do I even have him as my spouse, partner, parent, child, brother, sister, neighbor, housemate, friend, staff, colleague, or boss? Why them? Now, I grant you some of these storms that we have in our lives are not so noisy as that, or as upfront. Now, depending upon your age and your skill set and perhaps your authority relationship, or your sense of yourself, maybe we cut the fight short. But maybe in doing so, we make a semi-permanent decision or a judgment about them, and it affects your future relationship. Happily, fortunately, most of us have the experience and the interpersonal skills to begin to recognize the weather storm signals as they come up. Yet, despite our very best intentions, we can get caught up in our own personal storms, not always of our own instigation, but always with our own participation. And when we do get hooked, when we fall in, we feel hopeless, don't we? I mean, it's like, I ask myself pitifully, how did I get here again? But maybe you feel you're more mature than that, and you're not inclined to voice your differences, and you don't want to rock the boat, and you'd prefer to put up with difficult people and situations in order to avoid the unpleasantness. And we say we are kind of conflict averse, and we don't share anything. We don't really solve the problem, but instead we just sit quietly and abruptly cut off the other person, and perhaps entirely out of our life. And therefore the relationship and all that it could be is also permanently damaged. After all, we think, oh, I have other friends, I have other clients, brothers, sisters, relatives, plenty of other options. I don't really need that person in my life. And when we avoid the storms in person, doesn't mean we don't carry that unresolved discord, sadness, perhaps anger into our future, but as part of our mind. And we notice that our world has gotten smaller. Or maybe you don't do either of these things. You silently keep track of whatever upsets you, all the while being very nice. But you seethe under the surface, and your mood leaks out, disrupting others around you. And we share in subtle ways, we think, complaining to others, letting them know your grievances and how bad you think life is and how bad certain people are. But one day something triggers you and you blow up, you explode at one person. You cause a pretty big drama, taking a lot of energy from both of you. And ironically, we try to get one person to atone for all the things that we think has happened to us, our unexpressed communications, feeling misunderstood, underappreciated, dominated, generally ill-treated, that we are a victim of others' thoughtlessness rather, and frankly, bad behavior. So I'm not saying that grievances and mistakes don't happen and that they shouldn't be addressed. They should, and they certainly need to be resolved. But in order for us to recover the love in those personal storms and upsets, we have to realize that everything that exists in us, therefore existing in God, and how we are able to resolve and be willing to handle the conflicts in our relationships, all of them, will clearly determine the expansiveness, the creative energy, and most of all the love we will allow into our lives. So this is a spiritual discipline that requires tools. And just like they always say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. For me personally, it seems like I can generate a pretty good storm over wrongdoings or even simple annoyances. Can't you? And the good news is that they're all practice for us. They're all practices for resolving our differences consciously and to, even more importantly, increase our sense of wholeness and self-worth. Our wholeness and self-worth is essential in order to serve others' needs for authenticity and love. We need to be there. Each of these scenarios that I said comes from being unwilling to see that conflicts are a part of the way of God. So today, what I really want you to hear and to come to believe is that you can recover the love in your personal storms, even the ones that have felt the most devastating. Every year, Unity, Big Unity, where I spend a lot of my time, selects annual themes for their worldwide ministries. In 2021, the theme is how to stay centered no matter what. Now, clearly, that is a response to the state of the world with the viral pandemic. And gosh, it is certainly fair to say that lockdowns and all the much more serious things, the devastating and stressful conditions have been rough on our relationships. The deaths, the illness, the loss, the fear, all of it heartbreaking. Did you know that the divorce rate is higher this year than ever before? It's simple to understand. People stayed together at the beginning of the pandemic and then suddenly have discovered that they just cannot be together anymore. And worse, families that are sharing custody of their children between parents are going through so many challenges to those agreements. The ways people respond to safety measures, all of it. Mental health, emotional health, physical health, economic health, all of it is disrupted. So even the smallest things are creating disproportionate stress. So it is a spiritual time for us to call us to really be able to understand. And that theme is a spiritual promise, calling us to find and dwell in our center, to stay awake as maybe we never have before, completely stay awake to our soul, how to stay centered no matter what. And wherever we go, there's the possibility of personal storms. And I've been studying a wonderful book, and I mean studying. I've been speaking on it a great deal, but frankly, this book is for me as well as for you. It's Gary Simmons' The Eye of the Storm. The Eye of the Storm. Gary Simmons is a Unity minister, an accomplished martial artist, and an author. And he has been the director and founder of the worldwide peacekeeping ministries for Unity International. So providing support for churches in conflicts and organizations and so on. What I really love is the subtitle of the book, Embracing Conflict. Embracing conflict and creating peace. I have to tell you, I, for one, have not been one to embrace conflict easily. So here's the deal. At the fundamental level, spiritual principle calls us to understand something that is so important to this subject. No one is against you. No one is against you. This is the absolute truth. Even if you've had a lifetime of evidence that convinces you differently, the entire universe is for you. We must awaken to the truth that there is really only one presence. We say it all the time, but we have to believe that there is one presence, one power at work in our lives. And that presence and power lives in us as the Spirit of God, as the Spirit of divine. And for that reason, no one can be against us. No one can be against you. There's only one of us. And to realize that is to claim our divine inheritance as a beloved creation, of the infinite. Well, Jan, you might very well say it sure doesn't seem like it. I mean, if he's not against me, what are we fighting about? Here's the fascinating thing about fighting is it's probably not about you. It's all about the other. It's about their baggage, their upset, their feelings of doubt, possibly insecurity, their feelings of loss, inferiority. That's what caused us to fight. Or maybe there's something about the way you said something or something that you did. That is not about you. That's about something that he or she feels the relationship needs. And if that's the case, then we might want to be listening. Maybe they are communicating very unskillfully, even hurtfully, but for the sake of the relationship, not defended for the sake of our ego, but for the sake of the relationship, we need to rethink. And we also might want to take personal responsibility for the areas that we play in this topic. Now, I appreciate how hard it can be. I do, to square up our felt experience with our beliefs. But really, all of our extraordinary diversity, there is really only one life playing out. And that life is moving us to be more fully willing. I know that's Jody's favorite word. Would you be willing? More willing to have the way of God flow into every aspect of our life here on this plane. And we are here to be expressing the way of God. But you might also agree that at times we may be in the way of God, blocking the flow of love and peace in our own lives. And we experience resistance, pressure, stress, discord, conflict. And that all may be part of the human experience, part of the challenging curriculum of being on earth, this ever volatile, ever dynamic place, teaching us that we have to learn to work together skillfully and lovingly, creating solutions to the problems that confront us, which are so great right now. At church, at home, at work, at schools, health crisis, government, climate, and most of all, here at home. It all can rage in us. We don't even need to have somebody else to have a personal storm. The great thing about the title in Gary Simmons' book is the eye of the storm is the capital I, not EYE. What we know about hurricanes is that while they are a system of furiously chaotic, agitated air swirling around, sweeping up everything in its path, all the materials, goods, tragically, our homes and people. But we know that there is a calm place, a centered place, a place where one can be safe in the storm. And for me, that is the eye of the storm. Not only do we have responsibility for the storm, but we have I am of the storm. I am. Now, there is a simple but not really easy pathway to become and recover the love in those personal storms. And that pathway is to move ourselves from the chaotic, outside, dangerous, agitated place where the damage happens and move ourselves into that center. Easy to say, not always easy to remember how to do it. And so if we are looking for that place of abiding calm, we have to pay attention to spiritual disciplines to do this very thing. And stormy weather isn't fun, so we need to pack ourselves a dry tool bag. The tool bag consists of training your mind and dwelling in spirit. We're called to make peace. We're called to unity. And in the divine, there isn't dogma, aren't sides, there isn't winning, there isn't revenge. There's only love and growing in our ability to love one another. And especially when we present ourselves as less than lovable, which we so often do. And conditions exist that add to our natural conflict. And I'm just going to very briefly mention what those winds of conflict are. One of them is our sense of separation, that we actually believe we are alone. You know this is not the truth. None of us can ever be alone because we're deep in the heart of the divine. That's a perception we have to identify and keep working with until we really believe and we know that we are one with the divine. The second is our misperceptions. I know this is hard to believe, but we are not omniscient. We cannot see the whole picture. Living in God as we do, we still cannot ever see into the other person, their thoughts, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, their motives, their intentions, and so forth. And yet we're so easily willing to say, I know what you meant by that. I know what you're trying to do. We need to have the humility to be curious rather than the arrogance of already knowing about the situation and what's best for each of you. Now, perhaps the mystics get a better, bigger, grander view of the truth of life and consciousness. But we need to accept that on this human plane, our view is quite conditioned. We've been trained to think that it's the other guy, and it's our job, honestly, it's our job to keep widening rather than narrowing our view of human beings, remembering who we are. Competition. Our values and our goals differ. And underneath competition is a belief in lack, where we fight to win because our imagination is simply too limited to believe that all things are possible in God. Where if you win, I fear that I'll lose, or that somehow my survival is at stake. Where we're in competition with others, it's probably our sense of our identity and our ego speaking that is holding the reins. And we need to notice that. And we know the kind of work to do to relax that. And the fourth is that defensiveness and its co-partner judgment. If we didn't have judgment swirling around, what would we need to defend? Most of us have not fully healed our sense of self-worth. And consequently, we periodically feel ourselves needlessly defensive, even when we can see we're doing it. And what is that defensiveness if not a plea to know that we're safe, loved, whole? And we want others to convince us of that because we don't believe it ourselves. Consequently, we're on the alert like a high antenna. And so what we know about the power of thought is that the universe always says yes to our thoughts, the ones that are backed by powerful emotion. So if we think we're in a painful swirl and the world is against us and we need to protect ourselves, the universe says, sure, no problem. So defense and judgment is just more resistance and we get hurt by it. It's another way we manage to be in the way of God. So, how do we grow our willingness and our ability to make friends with conflict? We embrace the opportunities to learn and grow in our wholeness and our worth. And I'm going to give you a series of short tips and tools and assignments that will help you recover the love in your personal storm. You might want to take a few notes. I have a list of 10, and I'm only going to touch on 5 of them today. And next week, we'll also be back together and pick up the rest of it. So resist the quick response, no matter what. We recognize the opportunity to exercise our power of choice. We can choose the words, we can choose the thoughts. Do we consciously, this is the next one, do we consciously choose to continue to claim love, no matter how it feels, despite what we may be feeling and thinking? Is it possible to feel anger and love at the same time? Yes, of course. All parents know that. I love you and I'm angry with you right now. Our egos don't always remember that. We only think we can feel one thing at a time. Do we act out our anger and blame in irresponsible ways that ensnare us and hurt us both? The most important one, and this is so simple, you know it, take a time out. Wise friends and experience have taught us that if you can't say anything that won't fuel a senseless fire that will surely burn you both, you have to take a break. And one of you has to call it. Don't make it a threat. It's a wise choice to stop, to leave, to don't run after each other. Accept the need for a break. Go someplace else. Use it. Use it. Give your internal defense and prosecutor team a break. Go to the center. Go to a spiritual place. Don't go to the fridge or the bar. Not kidding. Just leave, but check in. Tell them that there is a stop point. Give your selves a chance to check back in. Now, you may have to keep going back on break over and over again. And some of my best, most wonderfully married, brilliant couples have told me that over the years, there have been times when they couldn't even get up and say good morning without needing to go on a break. Our lives go through cycles, perhaps. But you know you don't want to spend the time preparing all those zinger comeback lines or nursing and rehearsing your upsets. It's so easy to fall back into that swirl. So this is the time for prayer and breathing exercises. I want to give you another point here. You need to be able to get through the fog to begin to see the truth. Asking yourselves, who are you, each to each other? What do you really want? What is important here? The fourth tip is that one of you will take a small risk. In order to recover the love, you have to reopen yourself, to try again, this time not to win, but just to be with each other, to allow each other to be vulnerable, to see what is about to be possible. Maybe you will discover that your partner is in fact your divine teacher in your awakening. The next thing is to call in your observer, your God self, into the fray. You always have a neutral observer available to you if you will just allow yourself to view the situation as a neutral facilitator. When you do, you may find that you can take more responsibility for the situation than you have yet done. Pema Chodron says that in her work, Courage to Love the World, that the world has given us an endless supply of valuable messages if we will but look and listen. And at this point, I want to recommend to you that you take the time to analyze how you are with conflict objectively, without judgment. What do you do in your interpersonal storms? And when you see what your normal behavior is, then do something different. Do the opposite. Find a new way. There's an ancient saying that return to mountain, embrace tigers. So yes, we go back to the mountain's safety. You embrace the possibility of peace. And you have to embrace the tigers that cross your path. And intellectually, we know this is wise, but emotionally, it doesn't appeal to us too much, does it? So the great Maya Angelou inspiringly said, have enough courage to trust love one more time, and always one more time. So recognize that you can only recover love by choosing to, not by being resigned or hopeless, but declaring that your relationship can and will go on, that it is together more valuable than the upset is uncomfortable, that you can repair where necessary, you can appreciate your mutual values, you can make changes, you can choose again to trust, love, and come back stronger. So I hope you will use some of the tools that we talked about, and recognizing that when a personal storm occurs, you can find your center, you can stay there longer, you can seek to be more authentically yourself, to act consciously and compassionately. And when you do, you will find you will never be the same. So next week, we're going to talk about a word I have not said today. And that word is forgiveness. It's one of the complex steps on the path to peace. And I look forward to joining you. And I look forward next week to maybe staying after with you for the after service conversation. And as we close, let's just remember that there's only one of us and we're on a journey. And that journey is to be the way of God, the way of spirit as we go. We stay awake, we stay centered, no matter what, helping each other to find our way back, recovering the love that's always there, knowing that we are here to gather, calm ourselves, be the light, and be love. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. So will you close your eyes and say with me, I am a clear center of peace, radiating love in every way. I speak my word in gratitude for the gift of our spiritual community, our wise ministers and guides, for the opportunity to know and believe in the power of love and choice, faith and commitment. And I choose in every way, moment by moment, to endeavor to express the way of God. And with that today and every day, I know that God is, we are, and all is well. Thank you.
No matter what some people that the world is vicious and cruel. I believe in love. I believe in love. Even though sometimes it's unrequited and you feel like a fool, I believe in love. Love is my truth. Love is the answer. Love is not a cliche. Love is the answer. It's gonna save the day. So don't let anything like hate stand in the way. When you believe in love, believe in love. There's a still small voice inside us, whispers to me and to you. Believe in love. Love is your truth. Think of everybody around you who cares and really loves you. Believe in love. Remember how you love them too. Let's believe in love. Love is not a cliche. Love is the answer. Love is gonna save the day. Don't let anything like hate stand in the way. Believe in love. Believe in love. Loves your truth. Loves your truth. Believe in love. Loves the hero. Believe in love. Loves your truth. Believe in love. Believe in love. I believe in love. I believe in love. I love you.
Thank you, Jan, for being here. Thank you so much. And I know you're going to be here next week too. It's a perfect subject for you to talk about love. How many times we've talked about it in our own lives. So thank you, dear friend, for being here. And now is the time that I would like to invite each of us to take our offerings in hand. I invite you to join me in making this sacred investment to our community. We have great speakers from all over the country coming to share their wisdom with us, and certainly other expenses too. So together we create this lavishly abundant universe and community. So please take your gifts in hand. You can either pay through PayPal, texting, or you could send a check to CSLBV. And there are other ways to check us out. I know a lot of you like to do the online giving. I tend to do a check because I'm as old as I am. So whatever you do, put your hands to your heart, and together, let's repeat. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. Thank you so much for your giving. If you are interested in becoming a member here and want to find out what that means, on February 28th, we will be having a new member orientation. You know, I have to tell you, I'm not a real joiner, although since I've been in the church world, I have joined different communities. And something happens. It's just something happens when we say yes to being part of a community where we come together to remind each other of our divinity, to love each other, to be there for each other during the rough and tough times, to celebrate each other's successes, and to laugh and cry and sing and hold hands. Yes, even on line, we can hold hands and recognize that there's a golden thread between all of us. We will be having a new member Sunday where we'll welcome our new members on March 7th, and the February 28th, we will have a new member orientation. So be sure and join us if you're interested. And then also we're having a big launching party. We're going to party together on March 7th. And you'll be hearing more about that. You will be receiving a gift. We ask that you don't open it until that hour. It starts at 11 on the 7th of March. Be sure and check out our newsletter. We have a lot of different events happening throughout the week, and we look forward to seeing you at all the different places. So when I was a senior minister at different churches, I always had fun asking people, what brings you here and what keeps you here? Why would you, years and years later, still be a part of this community? And you've given so much of your time and talent. Or I would say to a person, come on in. It's your first time. It's your second time. And talk to the people who've been here a while. We have a wonderful, loving community here. So I've asked a few people along the way to make a video of why they stay at the Center for Spiritual Living or why they're even here. So our first guest today is our very own Kelly Robbins.
Hi, I'm Kelly Robbins. I am a member of CSL Boulder Valley. I've been a member for over 2 years, and I love this community. I love the people. The tagline we have is "Love lives here," and every time I leave an event, whether it's the Sunday service or a workshop or a class or meditation that we've led, I walk away feeling like I belong, and I walk away feeling very loved and knowing love. I was first introduced to these teachings 8 or 9 years ago, and I started off with the classes, and they have changed my life. The classes, the workshops, it's really life-changing. The information I've learned about just spirituality as a whole and who I am as a soul, as a spirit, has improved my life in my relationships in ways I can't count. So I welcome you here, and I encourage you to, if you're interested, become a member. What does that mean to you? And learn what ways can you step into your spiritual journey more fully.
I'd just like to remind everyone listening that this community is supported by a prayer team of practitioners and ministers. And we would love to pray with and for you anytime throughout this week. You can find our contact information on the website. It's under the Ministers tab, or if you just go to cslbouldervalley.org/prayer. Excuse me. Please reach out. We would love to celebrate you. We would love with you and for you. We would love to uplift you. If you have a challenge, we're here for you. And now please join me in saying our benediction together.
I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God. I now listen so that whoever speaks with me knows that I hear the voice of God. Whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For Spirit and I are one eternally, and so it is. This is a place we all get together, 'cause we know we belong. A place for loving and caring, healing and sharing and helping each other grow and be strong. A place where we celebrate spirit. I can't wait for you to hear it. No matter where you are, this is our place. It can be your place. No matter how near or far, this is our place. Come on in. Our place, glad you're here. Our place, everybody's welcome. We see God on every face. Our place, stay a while. Our place, love lives here. Our place, everybody's welcome. We see God on every face. Aren't you glad you found your way home to a family of friends where you know you are never alone? Our place, come on in. Our place, come back again. Our place is your place too. We see God on every face. Love lives here in this place. Welcome to our place. Come on and join the party. Come on in. Come on and join the party. Come on in. Come on and join the party in God's sweet place. This is our place, our sweet place.
Original music written and performed by Karen Karsh. Copyright held by Karen Karsh Crystal Music. All rights reserved.
Love